from a man's perspective, I think if I'm looking at a girl who has a child, I'm probably thinking, like such a person has lesser chances of being taken serious to the point of marriage, as opposed to someone who's like,
So, when we talk about equality, in what concept are we talking about?
Mm-hmm.
A man can take...
In arm wrestling, Baba, can you beat me in an arm wrestling match?
I can. I am strong enough.
Okay.
And that's not me saying that I'm as equal as you.
Yeah.
I just have my own strength, and I know I can beat you in it.
Okay, so you're not speaking to me personally, right? You're just like
yes,
generally.
In general, I do.
All right. No, you want to broke man, Chichi?
No. You can have money, but you can have the most disgusting behavior ever.
Fair enough.
You can have money.
Wait, so I want to understand. Are you agreeing or are you disagreeing with the fact that we should embrace sex before marriage? Should we or should we not? We should not. Okay, and Chichi thinks we should.
I didn't say I should. I said
the high value conversation. It almost has nothing to do with a woman's, I don't want to say it straightforward, but like financial state. Let me say it in that way. Okay. If you're speaking about a high valued man, you're probably looking at like the fact that it's also financially established. With a woman, it's not the case.
Why are we associating value with materialistic things?
Okay, set out the difference. Thank you, Chichi. We're on. All right, you're watching Behind the Cover. We're back after quite the time of absence. And by the way, the newest contributor to the channel from behind the camera, Chichi, say to the people.
Hi, people.
Let's clap hands for Chichi. She's just, joined the team. You guys will probably see her eventually. She said she's crossed it today, so she's not going to be able to join us. But it's okay. We're still going to try to have the conversation anyways. So one of the things that intrigued me to do this is going to be like a session of engagement between myself, Chichi. I believe Rolf is also going to give a few insights on what he thinks. There's a few clips that have been going around on YouTube that personally got my attention, and I'm glad there's a lady in the room to actually address some of these things, right? So the first one is the concept of a high value woman. Like, as much as it's a word we say every now and then, we say it every day and all, but I wanted us to sit down with a lady and hear it from her own perspective. So Chichi, this one is to you straight up. When you're listening to this and you hear the concept of a high value woman, what does that say to you?
High value woman. So you're just jumping into
high value woman. I don't want to waste time when I take you straight.
A high value woman is, according to society, is someone who prioritizes self-growth, emotional intelligence, and independence. A quality woman, a high quality woman, is someone who is confident, resilient, and authentic. Someone who prioritizes on autonomy.
True.
Yeah. So
she's got strong words, Baba. Okay, so let's try to dive into the quality of what actually makes a woman high value. There's a few things that were suggested here. Let's look at something like, for example, a single mom, meaning a woman that has a child before marriage. Do you think that affects her high value? Because I personally think if a girl has a child, she's therefore less desirable as the new 21-year-old who's joined college or whatsoever. That's what I think.
So you're saying having a child before marriage is diminishing as a woman?
I think it is.
You think it's diminishing?
I think it is.
So a woman...
Am I wrong? I think it is.
Okay, irrespective of how the child came about.
Yeah.
Bottom line is that woman brought life to this earth, and that diminishes her value.
From a man's perspective, I think if I'm looking at a girl who has a child, I'm probably thinking, like such a person has lesser chances of being taken serious to the point of marriage, as opposed to someone who's like,
Okay, say say there's a child who got raped, and as a result of that rape, became pregnant.
Okay, that's a good point.
She hasn't contributed to society in a way that she wished she should have, or can. And now a guy sees her with a child and says, this one doesn't have value.
So what do you make of purity? Because I think, a woman's purity has to do with value as well. So, for example, the type of partners this person has had in the past and the fact that she's a virgin or not, it also kind of like contributes to her value,
I don't think a woman's value should be determined by her sexual history.
I think it should.
Do you hear women going around saying men's value diminish with each girl they sleep with?
Men and women are different.
No.
Guys, she just said no.
Virginity and number of partners are a personal choice and is a personal experience.
And you think it has no effect on a woman's value?
Say I come to you, right?
Yeah.
You quote me and you ask me what my body count is, and I say to you my body count is 2.
Yeah.
Even if maybe let's say my body count is 11.
Sure.
You won't know that, and you would continue to be with me. But had I said 11 from the beginning, you would see me as someone who doesn't.
It would depreciate your value.
But that's the thing. I told you I have 2 and I have 11 body counts. You don't know if my value is depreciated because of that.
Wait, Rofi, talk to us, Baba.
I've got a lot of questions.
I thought you wanted to say you've got a lot of bodies. Okay, carry on.
Bodies, really?
Yeah.
Well, I have many questions, especially when it comes to women. So, like,
you have many questions when it comes to women. Yeah. Okay, please ask her, Baba. Shoot her. She's alone today, so we get to,
I feel like I'm being attacked.
No, we're gonna. Maybe you're gonna have a partner next week, Baba. For today, it's just you.
Yeah. Like, especially with relationships, like, yes, we talk about a single mom. You know? So, what if a guy like me has feelings for this woman and wants to contribute? You know, how do I actually make her the valuable woman that she is?
You don't make her the valuable woman that she is because she's already the valuable woman that she is. What you can contribute to her as an individual, and maybe if you want, to her child, is just someone you would want to see raise your daughter. You understand?
Oh man,
she's valuable in her own way.
So that it speaks. I think it speaks a lot of concepts. You know, I didn't want us to dwell on this as much, but whilst passing, I just want us to mention the concept of sex before marriage. I don't know what is your take on that. Wait, what's your religion? Chichi.
My religion.
Yeah.
I am an African spiritualist.
Okay, that's a topic for another day.
That is a topic for another day. However, I do believe that there is a maker.
Okay. Yes. Fair enough.
I just don't believe in the version of the colonizers. Yes.
Okay. So the sex before marriage?
Sex before marriage, okay. We all know sex is something spiritual. It's exchange of energies. So anyway, sex before marriage is just something that is looked down upon, right?
Sure.
However, it is again a personal choice and autonomy and emotional readiness and consent. So if I'm ready to have sex but I don't want to be tied to someone through marriage, what should I do?
It's a fair point. Prof, would you say you agree with that? Would you say you agree with that?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No, I don't know.
Ha, there we go.
Well, obviously we know about having marriage before sex, right? So having sex before marriage for me is more like you enter a shop and you just take something and leave.
Without paying for it?
Without paying for it.
Okay. Wait, so I want to understand, are you agreeing or are you disagreeing with the fact that we should embrace sex before marriage? Should we or should we not?
Should not.
We should not. Okay, and Chichi thinks we should.
I didn't say I should. I said ideally, sex before marriage is something that is looked down upon. However, there are individuals who are really emotionally and are not going to conform to the societal expectations. And they want to have sex, but they don't want to be tied to marriage for some odd reason. Maybe they grew up in a home where the marriage was just not blissful at all.
True.
And it ended in divorce, and she doesn't want that for herself, or he doesn't want that for himself. And then he sees that, no, I don't need to get married to have sex because I've seen what marriage ends in for my parents. Understand? So it's something like that. It's really an individual thing if you look at it. And you don't look at it from a societal or religious lens.
What can you say? What happens when love cheats? You just wanna get it.
Yeah, well, this guy's in his own world, bro. But Chichi, you're gonna remind me on some of the things that I may have left out, but I think I also want us to touch on this concept of women empowerment, because in many different facets, I felt like women have misconceptualized women empowerment. I want you to tell me, I'm glad you already agree with me, but I want you to tell me how exactly you think they've misconceptualized this thing, and maybe just your thoughts around it and how we can perhaps try to fix a few things around it.
I think in a way where women have misconceptualized the women empowerment, especially when it comes to feminists, they objectify themselves. Men don't even need to do it. The objectification is there. The comparison to men is there. And when we speak to women empowerment, we're not putting down men or saying what a woman can do or what a man can do. woman can do.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just saying that you in yourself as an individual female, you have autonomy, but that doesn't mean you need to compare now yourself to a man, whereby you see a man. I don't want to say this, né? But when we say we're doing self-care, self-love, self-awareness, and whatnot, and then we base it off of a man can do it, so I can. That's not women empowerment. That's you just trying to compare yourself to men and not expand.
So it kind of speaks to the concept of equality. You know how they're always trying to say, women are equal to men and all that. So you're saying that conversation is something else from women empowerment?
Yeah, that's different from women empowerment.
Okay.
I say so because when we talk about equality, in what concept are we talking about? A man can take...
In arm wrestling, Baba, can you beat me in an arm wrestle match?
I can. I am strong enough.
Okay.
And that's not me saying that I'm as equal as you. I just have my own strength, and I know I can beat you in it.
Okay, so you're not speaking to me personally, right? You're just like...
Yes,
generally.
In general, I do.
All right. Now, I hear on that loud. I'm sure people don't want to see us have an arm wrestle fight now and all that. Just let me know on some of the things we might have left out. I don't know what I'm missing exactly that we haven't touched.
Perspectives where women have diverse experiences and values in relation to men. I was just about to say actually that a man can be in a polygamous marriage, but a woman cannot have...
Please repeat that.
A man can be in a polygamous marriage.
Okay.
But a woman can't have multiple husbands.
Why do you say so?
And I know it's kind of contradicting to the point
They're coming for you, man. After this.
I know it's contradicting.
Yeah.
But see, in this way, when a man marries, let's say 2 wives, his aim, according to him, is to enlarge his family.
Expansion of happiness.
Expansion of family, yes. So these kids are all going to carry who's surname? The man's surname.
Yeah, the man's surname.
Now I come here, I want to marry you, I want to marry another guy. Not that I am into guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
And now, are you going to agree to take my surname?
So, I think you should choose.
I should choose whose surname I'm going to take.
Yeah.
But that's not how it works. Well, how is marriage? You marry someone, they assume your surname, right? A man can marry a woman, the woman assumes the surname of one man.
Right.
I marry 2 men who have 2 different surnames, and they marry me. Who's going to want to assume my surname? I'm not going to assume your surname because I'm the one who is married into this polygamous marriage. Yeah.
So, I think that so you're saying, hypothetically speaking, that you would engage in a polygamous type of system. You don't do polygamy, but you're supporting the point.
I'm against it. I get the point, but for me, I'm against it. I think it's just trying to legalize cheating.
It's trying to legalize cheating.
Yes.
Wow.
But I'm just saying, in form of equality, a man can take 3 wives, a woman can't take 3 husbands, because also when it comes to the child, whose surname is the child going to assume? Because apart from religiously, traditionally, the child assumes the surname of the father, and if no dowry is paid towards the child, they assume the surname of the mother.
Oh, okay. I think that makes we can go with that for today. Just for the sake of time, I believe we can go with that for today.
But when it comes to sorry to cut you there, when it comes to the
no, please feel free.
There is definitely equality. What a man can.
There's equality in the work environment.
There is. There should be.
Okay.
Actually. There isn't, but there should be. I am for the fight of equality
in the workplace. So what if the workplace happens to be like a mine, and we're carrying heavy, like we're going underground and doing all these physically challenging practices.
You asked me just before this conversation, before this particular topic. Yeah. You asked me if I can beat you in an arm wrestle, and I said yes.
Which we still have to verify, but the thing is, do you think it's fair for us to say that? Because I personally believe, look, we're gifted differently in terms of physicalities. I think with different genders comes different gender roles. That simply means, okay, I see you don't agree. Talk to me.
That's just being sexist.
In what way?
You cannot. Yes, I understand that, but if I want to work in the mine and I have the passion to work in the mine,
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm going to go to the gym. If I know that my capabilities cannot allow me to carry heavy machinery, I will go into the gym, step into the gym, and increase my capabilities to be able to handle that heavy machinery.
Okay.
And so why shouldn't I be afforded the same equality as you in the mine industry if I can step up to you?
Well, gender roles, as I said, so that simply means that women are better than men at these things, and men are better than women at these things. And I think we should try our best to just keep it that way. No, we shouldn't. You think we should?
Why should we keep it that way? So that men can have more power or feel that they have more power. Because this then becomes an egotistical matter.
No, it doesn't, Chichi. It's a matter of, when we stay that way, I personally believe that is why we therefore make an amazing team if we come together, whether it's in a situation of friendship, a relationship, and etc. If we're able to come together, complementing each other, whilst understanding that I'm good at this, my friend or my partner is also good at this, we're gonna make an amazing team. If we want to cross over and do these other things, I think that's when the trouble comes in.
You asked me
generally speaking,
qualities of women who are in empowerment.
Yeah.
And one is resilience and another one is adaptability. I can adapt to the nature of a man's world. It's very easy.
Sure, I hear you on that.
There's nothing limiting me to adapting to the nature of your world, but you are saying I should not. So it is no longer a gender role thing. It is now a matter of ego or mentality.
Ego or mentality.
Because I'm telling you that I can go to the gym and carry heavy machinery, and you're saying you think that women should stick to what they do.
No, you definitely can.
Men should stick to what
you definitely can. I think I'm just saying you will not lift as heavy as the strongest guy.
That's
it's like
funny story. Okay, continue before I.
No. Please. No. I think I've reached the end of my thought. Carry on, Chichi. What are you saying?
Story,
yeah.
When the MI gym was still new, open.
Mm-hmm.
There was a trainer who was. We were all using this one machine. I think it's I forgot the name, but I think you lift with your arms.
Okay.
No, you pull down the weights with your arms. Yes. So you're sitting and then you reach for the handles and you pull down.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes. Then there were a few guys there, and I also wanted to hit a few reps on that machine. It was on 35 kg, I think, 35, 40.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and the chains were there, like sweating, and it was heavy. And then when it was my turn to sit, I don't know why he assumed I could not handle 35.
Because you're a woman.
Because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
He lowered the weight to about 25.
Okay.
And then I'm like, let me just lift it. Maybe it is heavy. When I lift the 25, I'm like, this is not heavy. I then put it back to 35. It was still not heavy. I put it on 55, and that was my lifting weight. The guys looked at me like,
she's insane.
She's insane.
Yeah.
If we're crying at 35, she's making us look bad.
I want to see those guys. Those are weak guys, man. Who are those guys that could not do that? I want to see them. It's just,
even if it's about physical roles when it comes to the gender of a female and the gender of a male, a woman can and has the capabilities to step up to the male or even step up beyond the male. You understand? So that story of man at the gym is just one of many stories in our country, in the society,
definitely
over the world.
I just remembered one thing, and I'm sorry, but allow me to just take you back a little, maybe before we wrap it up. I want to speak about the high value women thing again. So it's interesting that in many times when we speak of high value women as opposed to men, women, the high value conversation, it almost has nothing to do with a woman's, I don't want to say it straightforward, but like financial state. Let me say it in that way.
Okay.
If you're speaking about a high valued man, you're probably looking at like the fact that it's also financially established. With a woman, it's not the case.
Why are we associating value with materialistic things?
Okay, set out the difference. Highlight the difference.
As an individual, the qualities that you possess, what makes up your character, is what should determine your value.
So,
and not materialistic things. And then again, the qualities that you possess should not be according to the societal norms.
So finances do not add to a man's value.
Not necessarily. No.
You want a broke man, Chichi?
No. You can have money, but you can have the most disgusting behavior ever.
Fair enough.
You can have money, but you can just be a lowlife. Character-wise.
Character-wise.
Yes.
Right?
You have zero qualities, no respect for women, you don't have self-love.
But don't you think that person can still be desirable to many women out there? Which therefore makes him a high-value man. The fact that he's largely desirable.
That's not how we measure value.
Okay.
Because you are... Do you know that shiny things attract a lot of people, but most times those shiny things end up rusting. And then I'm not sure if rusting is the correct word.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with rusting.
Sure.
We all know what rust is.
Yeah.
So pardon me if it's wrong. And then the old things, the antique things that have been there for decades and decades and decades, they don't attract a lot of people, but they hold their form very well. You understand?
Yeah.
So if I'm going to be attracted to someone because of the materialistic things that come and go, especially things...
A secure future. The future is secured.
I can
up
secure
ahead.
my own future.
Definitely.
I can secure my own future. So me being attracted to you because of your money doesn't make you someone who's high of value. What makes you high of value is how you treat yourself, number one, and the people around you. Your qualities as a man, your characteristics.
Yeah.
Those are what make you a high value man. Because you can lose that money any day from now and you won't be high value. Why? Because you don't have money. No, you still possess those traits in you that made you a valuable man. Money was just the cherry on top.
Jesus. So in conclusion, Chichi wants a man with a lot of money.
I don't want a man, I have a girlfriend.
That's how we're gonna conclude this. Oh, you know, don't tell us about your personal files here. Any last words before we officially wrap it off?
I do want to with money though.
Yeah?
My woman has money. Pardon?
Any last words before we wrap it off?
I just think people shouldn't associate value, and I mean value in men, value in women. I don't think people should associate it with materialistic things because those are things of the earth. When that person leaves, you're not gonna say how rich he was in the obituary, or how respectful she was. Not respectful because that's a quality, or how what can I say, or how many clothes she owned, or bags, luxury bags she owned in her obituary. Those things won't matter. What will matter is how she carried herself or himself as a human being on this earth, how they contributed to society. That's what makes you valuable.
Thank you so much, Chichi. I think it's enough for today. We're gonna call it off. The people are still hoping to see you. Hopefully, eventually, when you decide you're not crusty, we're gonna have a one-on-one sit down. But in the meantime, though, I think they should know it's important that Chichi's gonna be around to help us with all these insights from behind the camera. And the day she feels pretty, she's gonna be in front of the camera. The day she doesn't, she's gonna be behind the camera. They're gonna decide that when you come up here, and then we'll get to see. Thank you guys. We're out.
And out.
Yo. My phone's off, literally. Not my phone, but Malika's phone. How do we escape that? On. You didn't give it to me nice. We're supposed to like, you know. We're on. We're on. You serious? You don't have my password also?
No, I want to record.
Oh. I left it by the sound record thing. Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah. Do that. Is that Malika? Still want Malika to pull up. No. Did you start the thing? Damn. Ruffy, give me. Wait, that is seat type. That is Apple.
No, it's fine.
No, it's Apple. Here's the thing. Thank you, Chichi. We're on. All right.